Okay. Perfect. Okay. So we are starting up our Power of Eight groups again. So welcome everybody. Thank you guys for joining. Excited to get these doing going. I just wanted to start off with some little quotes from the Power of Eight book. I discussed with Luciana a little bit, and I was talking about when it first popped on that really kind of shined a light on me, especially with recently going through healing myself and recovery from surgery. And they are just these, the more prayer you put out, the healthier you become. If you're suffering from a condition, you will heal faster when you focus on another's healing. Get off of yourself. Focusing on one's intention may be the metaphysical equivalent of watched pot not boiling. So then she went into explaining how people who had their own ailments, how much they healed their own ailments by just focusing on other people's healings. That the focus and the intent on the healing brought about their own healing. And that when they focused on their own healing, it became counterproductive. It wasn't as beneficial. It almost was like a blocked situation when they were focused on their own healing. They actually healed further and better when they focused on others and put that healing. It was she was calling it the rebound effect of this. So I just want to kind of start with that. And then I had some ideas how I wanted to do this session and where we wanted to go. I was thinking that today we could focus our intent, especially with everything with what's going on with the world and just society and where we are at, focus our intent into Gaia, into healing Earth, in healing this global planet thing. So I was thinking the meditation could go. We would envision a root coming from our spine deep into the earth and then just envisioning this purple energy because purple is associated with love, is associated with higher evolutionary, higher consciousness. The higher chakras are your purples, and for no distinct, I don't want to get too into the weeds here on some things, but purple is a combination of red and blue. Red and blue are two polarities, not just in America, but within the world. They're two polarities of ideologies. And if you combine those ideologies, you get purple. And that's what I'm looking to focus on is love, unity, combination, healing. The biggest plague I see of the planet right now is blending. And yes, as Kim put, male and female energies. It is just a combination of everything. It's unity, it's consciousness, so if we focus that, and I have a little graphic that I'll put up here in a second to focus on. And then I also was going to play I don't know if any of you are familiar with the didgeridoo. I have a didgeridoo meditation I wanted to play because it gets me very rooted. And that's the key, is I want this energy to be rooted. And then the kind of idea I had from that is I want to do eight minutes of it, incorporating that power of eight. So we'll focus our intent for 8 minutes. And then for the next week, until next week's session, every day we set aside 8 minutes to do that same intention. 8 days for 8 minutes. So when we come back on that next Friday, we'll have done 8 sessions by the time it's Friday, 8 minutes each, and just kind of see where it goes. And then utilizing that as our catalyst for coming together. And so it's just then that becomes our intention or our way to kind of merge our energies is our focus. Oh, and then every session we just start, hey, let's get into that purple energy. We already know where we're at because we've initiated it. Let's get into our purple energy. And then we start from the place of purple energy that's now infusing all that into the global energy of Gaia, the planet, and therefore becoming more effective. And then we would move on, and then also, sorry, I'm kind of babbling. I'm excited to do this, and I've been thinking about this a lot. Uh, Come up with homework of everybody. We all know somebody that could utilize the power of eight. We all, when we think of the power eight, we think of healing, and we think of someone besides ourselves. We all have somebody in our mind. So I want our homework to be to bring those names to these sessions, to this Power of Eight group. And then we would create a list of names. And every week we pick a name off that list. And it's the energy of the group. And it's the energy of who calls to us and who we feel needs that. And we take that in person and we're like, okay, that is who our intent is. We'll focus on them. We'll put a picture up of them and send the healing. Or we plan it for, if we're planning it like the week ahead, we say, okay, next week we're going to do John. We're going to focus our intent on John. Whoever brought John's name in, maybe they can see if John wants to join the session for that week. So we can focus on them and being part of it. If not, make sure that they know that we're willing to give them the energy. They're willing to accept this energy and want to be an energetic exchange. So we have their permission. And then we could just focus on a picture of them after tapping into the purple energy that we're going to create with today's session. So those are kind of my visions. I also like to utilize, and I want to try to continue to utilize the didgeridoo over the Choku Rei healing because for me it's almost a personal thing, and I'll see, and I'll take votes on it to see how everybody else feels. But to me, it's just very tribal, very primal, and it just connects me into that deep-rooted energy that just expands me out and taps me into earth, and I feel this is going to amplify our healing. So now I want to kind of just open it up a little bit to have any input that anybody has, any questions before we kind of get into the session. Just check chat, just make sure.
I think you covered some of my questions. I was going to ask about the permission piece. The only thing that came up for me as far as a comment is this kind of some of what you're saying ties in with what Nick Indra is teaching in the prayer class or whatever we're calling that, um, where he talks about seeing the other person as God and seeing ourselves as God. Like there's no problem, there's no imperfection. There's Tony, do you remember what else he said about that?
Yeah, he was talking. That's pretty much it. Just that if we see everybody as the perfect Son of God, then we see ourselves as the perfect Son of God, and there's no more separation. Yeah, the permission thing got me because I'm thinking I could think of a whole bunch of people who need healing, but not any who would give permission for this kind.
Yeah, and it's more of
Yeah.
a kindness thing. It's more of they're more receptive of the energy,
Mhm.
and at least if they're knowledgeable about it. I mean, we can even try. I mean, we can see where it goes. I mean, and that could be an experiment. How unreceived versus received. We could start taking maybe measurements of that. Like, hey, when these people accept it, this is where, and then we could utilize that into our kind of spiels. Hey, when you actually accept the energy, you benefit this much more. We saw better results than the people that weren't receptive to the energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I'm remembering in the book, there was a part where they were doing the experiment, and well, this happened more than once, but somebody who was not a meditator, who was not into that kind of stuff, walked into the room where the computer picture and the meditation situation was happening. Um, and they were blasted with this like unconditional love, whatever you want to call it, and were affected by it, even though that wasn't part of their mindset or interest or whatever. So I think that we can still, I more than think, I feel that we can still have an impact on those people if we're like Nagendra suggested, just seeing them as God. That even if the energy shift is their mind starts to open more, like the person in the book. Oh wow, okay, there's something happening here. I don't really get it, but yeah, that's my thought.
No, yeah, I agree. And I think it changes how we focus. We maybe don't get as personal with the healing, but it is like you said, it's focusing on letting them remember who they are, that they are God, that they are part of something bigger. One of the stories in the book did state of a teenage boy who you know all these things, threw himself off the roof and was very skeptical, was like, oh, my parents are trying to do this, didn't believe any of the healing, but the healing still impacted him. So it's still works, but it's more powerful if they accept it, but we can still, I mean, not everybody, even like today, when we're just focusing on Gaia and Earth as whole and healing these dualistic personalities and creating more of a unified conscious and that purple energy, that combination of everything, that focus on love. Uh, we're not getting everyone's permission to do that, but we're ingesting that into the world to help that manifest. Um, so I think we got some good stuff here. I think I'm excited to get going into it.
Yeah, I like trying out different types of music, and didgeridoo does have that real earthy quality like you were talking about. So I'm curious to see how this goes. Me in general, I like the drum beat. Feels very connecting to me, and music in general. I'm just a music
Mm.
person.
Yeah, and I was looking to get to that more primal. Those really the organic, natural. I like the choku but some of the tones sometimes are a little high, and they kind of almost offset me. Whereas these didgeridoos, they're just this really constant flow, and I feel it gives me that flow state better. So, alrighty, well, let me share out my screen here and make sure I share sound so you guys can hear everything. Alrighty, you guys seeing everything good? So, let's get me to this. We should see the didgeridoo scene. Okay, and then we have our 8-minute timer. And here is our focused picture. I was trying to get some purple energy, but this is you almost have that power of eight, that power of infinity symbol in the background, creating that energy, and then you're infusing it to the ground below you. So just to recap again, the intention, kind of what we're going on, is we're going to focus on a root growing from our spine and plunging deep into the core of the earth. And then from that, we're going to focus on generating this purple energy that generates first from our heart and just expands out. And then as we breathe in, we kind of breathe in this energy from the earth. And then as we exhale and return this transmuted, this purple energy and infuse it back into the earth. So on the inhale, we're kind of breathing in any energy from the earth, taking it in, and then transmuting it and transforming it within our purple energy that we've created. Then on the exhale, ingesting it back into the planet, into the earth, and just focusing on that love, that unity, and that healing vibe to create that cohesive planet and universal energy. So let's get back to here. That is the wrong thing. You guys don't need to see all that. And we'll start our little didgeridoo. And can we hear this? Do we need it louder at all? Okay.
Yeah.
And perfect. And now I'll set our 8-minute timer. So we have our 8 minutes of focused energy, incorporating that power of eight. And we'll catch you guys all on the other side. Oh, wow. First thing I can say is that did not seem like 8 minutes. That was way quick. That was super fast and powerful. I that was really good. I felt at first it was kind of as I breathing in and ingesting the into the planet, I felt trees and flowers kind of opening up as the energy seeped into the planet, and as they opened up, they started emitting that energy out into the air and just so like opening up and like almost like pollen and these all these just energy particles of this purple energy just started swirling all around the planet. And then I was breathing in, I started getting like the angst of like, okay, here's the angst energy, and almost like people were coming to me with this energy, and I just then the thought that Kim said of remembering and reminding them they're God and just seeing that God is in them. I just said, so I just spoke, I see God in you. I appreciate you. I see you and hug them and then just let them meld back into the energy of that purple energy and back into the earth. So it was like healing them and transforming that energy. Um, that was pretty good stuff. I don't know what you guys got, but wow.
I got quite a bit also. Um, Totally different experience, but that's cool because that's the point, right? We're expanding. Um, so the thoughts that popped up for me as I was breathing in, from the earth, like bringing up that energy and carrying it to my heart, doing the purple, and then carrying it back down as I breathed out. Um, the light came up, or the energy came up, and I created the purple. In other words, the unification of the male female energies, the no judgment of anything. It's all cleared, and um, then as it went back down, becoming white light, because the thought that came was it's pure, like like a rainbow in all of its colors. It actually becomes white because there's it's pure. I don't know how else to say that. um, and what's the other thing that came up? That as I would pull up any thoughts that interfered with, um, like basically my mind, my ego trying to come in and say, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it the same way they're doing it, whatever kind of garbage like that. Any kind of thoughts that got in the way was, oh, I see you there. Okay. And now I'm turning you into truth, like just letting it go, like purifying it. So as if digging into the earth was digging into the lower parts of myself and making that pure, like just it's all good.
Yeah, I love that. I love that analogy, and I love your experience. I see similarities, but like you said, different perspectives. And so that was really awesome to see or hear. Thank you, Kim.
I
Anybody else?
had a totally different experience. But I think that's because of where I'm coming from. I do Reiki and quantum healing, and I call in my guides. So when I started doing it, I immediately called in the angels and my guides and to assist. And I saw the whole earth like covered in the flower of life symbol, like glowing purple, and just kind of just spreading all throughout the world. And then I channel symbols And I have the symbol for correspondence as above, so below, and I envision that like enwrapping the world and just glowing purple, and I could feel the energy like building through my hands. It was like, ooh, a lot of tingly energy when I do energy healing. Are any of you energy healers too?
Yes, I practice Reiki and Qigong. I'm actually heavily that energetic arts are my big passion and what I my main focus is. So
That's very cool.
Um, I feel that for me too, it has been different from what you experienced, except the no judgment. So immediately I had intense feelings of love and gratitude for to the earth, very much. The non-judgment came afterwards, felt from entities literally at the center of the earth. So a very compassionate feeling that I received. What I experienced different was that this energy from the earth, this purple energy, spilled into my higher chakras, over the head, like going out and becoming this tube. Instead of being white or shining, it was purple, and then opening like a cup. Me too, like Kim, you're doing it wrong, something is, but I just didn't, I mean, I just didn't care about it. So I just kept being there, what was coming. Oh, and I saw a white dog. Yeah, I saw a white dog.
hmm.
A dog?
Yeah,
Hmm.
a white dog. And Tony Ann, I'm interested in that symbol of the so above, so below. Anytime, when you have a chance.
That's awesome. That's I experience that no judgment too. I kind of put in the chat as people as those energies came to me, I realized that the energies and the people that are coming to me were polarized. Were the opposite of what I was to like specifically like try to throw me off. Like, oh, I'm gonna come at you with energy that you don't agree with, and see, can you accept that? Can you love that? And it was like, at first it was like almost shook me. I was like, oh, damn it, you again, huh? All right. Oh, no, nope. I accept you. We love. We're doing this. We're doing this.
As far as the non-judgment, I saw and felt like at the center of the earth, like entities looking up, and being in that feeling, giving actually me that feeling of non-judgment, which usually comes from above, and there was a very quick thought that slipped in, as in, well, man, we are really over and badly using this earth. And the idea that this thing, that there was no judgment, it was something.
Love that. I mean, I feel this is achieving everything I hoped it would, and then some. Listening to everyone's experiences and just I'm excited to see what the next week of doing this brings. And we just set aside 8 minutes every day, and I'll send out the picture and I'll send a link to the YouTube for the didgeridoo, just so we're it's getting that same thing. And I really want to see how kind of things start to shift and change and just differentiate, because in our own worlds, we're creating that reality around us, right? So if we are creating our reality becomes what our thoughts and our focus is. If this is our focus intent becomes, I'm just really excited to see how our personal worlds change because of it.
Two things. One, I noticed in the, I don't know, in the middle, wherever it was, that there was like a interruption in the music. Was that an internet thing or something else?
I did notice that too. It was like a little hiccup, little, and I don't know if
Yeah.
that
And I was
was
like, hey, what
just
was
the, yeah,
that?
yeah. I did. I was like, hey, what's going? So I didn't notice. I think it is in the recording, but the recording is like 8 hours long. So maybe if we go like just adjust
Fast forward to a
words.
different section.
Yeah,
And then what was my other question? Oh, if it comes back to me, I'll ask.
yeah. I'm looking. I like this and setting this baseline and just having that as our starting point. I think this is going to it kind of what we were trying to do in some of the other groups, getting us into that same space, that same energetic imprint, so we have that greater impact.
Well, the fact that it came up a lot, the non-judgment, it may be an energy that we all have, right? That somehow we judge ourselves, which, yeah, it is.
Well,
Or judging the way things are. Like the exercise that Nagendra has us doing for this week in Infinity group is in the 7 areas, which represent the 7 chakras. Um, where in your life are you resisting? And uh, I'm guessing some, if not all of you, have probably read or heard the story of the half cooked hand. You know, I'm talking about. I know Tony Ann does. Anyway, basically, it's being willing to. I don't want to. I don't want to cheapen the story, but it's really being open to whatever comes your way and seeing that it can be transformed into something positive if you, instead of looking at it as this is good and this is bad, like zero judgment. It is what it is. And I make it good or bad by adding my filter to it. It's all just energy. The thing that came up for me this morning when I was reflecting on my day, what my plans are and where am I resisting, is I have a home care client that I see twice a week. And um, she complains all the time. And it gets heavy. And my resistance usually comes in the form of like, just stop. Like I'm thinking those kind of thoughts. Just stop. You're just you know. So today I'm like, okay, just stay open to it. Like what she does with her words and herself is her business. You know, it, that's my challenge of no judgment today. Like just let her complain. It's not your problem.
I hear you very much. Oh my
and
God.
I love how the no judgment came into, especially well, at least with me, of these people that I need to accept the most. Because then it teaches me and ties into how Kim and everyone else is kind of saying of the acceptance of self. Is if I can accept and love these personalities, then why I can definitely accept and love anything about myself. And so it just shows how powerful that can be.
They
And then
go
it came,
together.
yeah, and then it comes back to these things that I started with. The more you're focusing, you're healing on others, you get that rebound effect. You start healing yourself. If I'm accepting and loving others, it's easier to accept and love myself. It just becomes that full circle moment, and that energy reciprocates and it starts refilling its cup naturally.
Because we're all one. So when we're healing other people, we're really healing ourselves. We're seeing things in them that we don't prefer to see about ourselves. Did you guys see my quote that I shared a few days ago on Facebook from Byron Katie, where I did the before and after pictures of me?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, basically where she's saying like every person in your life is going to push your buttons until you see the thing about yourself that you don't want to see because they're helping to set you free. And that's the theme that I've been on for months, if not years at this point of, okay, how is this situation for me? And even the accepting, I think it was Becky Rhodes on one of her posts that she said something about recognizing that she's being asked to stay in that higher vibration regardless of what comes her way. Absolutely. Like as we're dragging, well, I don't want to say, yeah, dragging is the way it felt when I was doing that meditation. Like I'm dragging up this stuff that I don't really want or prefer not to have, and accepting it and then sending it back is it's all just energy. It's all pure energy. And it started to feel like a river. But yeah, like we're just out in the world interacting with other parts of ourselves that we may or may not enjoy.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
think
nice
about that a
definition.
lot. Like toxic family members that I'm like, okay, what are they reflecting back to me?
I
And you want
love
to go, no, stop, leave me alone.
I loved the can't speak analogy. Whew, why was that a hard word for me to say this morning? Of the river that you use,
Because I
Kim.
resist.
Is that river is so true because the river is always water. The waters are always going to change. That flow, that energy is always going to change. You know, if you're feeling this way, new energy, new flow is going to come. And it's always refreshing. It's always renewing. It's always empowering, flowing. So river is really, I think, a really good vision for me, at least.
Well, that's also part of something we discussed the other day in the Infinite OS. Um, we humans, uh, we are the most difficult to go with the flow for not just for the mind, but also because we have an organized society, a family, have a house, a mortgage, right? Things like this, which nature does not have. So nature does not hold on to the rock in the river, just goes with the flow. We are structured differently. We have to honor that. It is not enough to say it's the mind. Yeah, okay, it's the mind, but we have it. It's another tool. And paradoxically, with another tool, things become more difficult, not easier. It's easier to be an ant and, have certain instincts and go that way. But when the mind comes on board, there is a total different paradigm. And yeah, we hold on to the rock.
Mhm.
It's a big challenge to understand when it is time to let go of the rock, but
Well, you saying The Rock just put a vision of this
the
river.
rock in the river, I
Yeah,
meant.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry,
But
I
well,
under
it had no, but it gave me the vision of okay, if you were to try to dam up or stop a river, you're going to try and block it. You put a giant rock, you put a bunch of stuff. What's going to happen? The river is going to
on,
overflow. It's going to
yes.
cause chaos. There's going to be flooding, and then it's still going to find a way around your blockade and continue onto its path.
I was
Might
more
as well just
thinking,
get out of the way, right?
yes. No, I was more thinking of, like me floating in the river and holding on to the rock
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
letting go. But again, as humans, it's not always so easy to know when it is time to let it go.
Because we're connected to our story. The thought that came up, well, several thoughts came up. One was one of the first Power of Eights that we did. I envisioned we were talking about like the group staying cohesive, I think was the focus. And I envisioned us on rafts going down a river, and that at some point there was a clog, like too many people trying to get through the same spot. And we broke off into separate decorations, yeah, directions. Um, and it was all good. It was being willing to let go of what needs to happen. Whatever goes, goes. And the other thought that was coming up for me is thinking in terms of what Brian was saying about uh, the there if you put a rock in the way and then the block happens and all of that is really very much connected to the idea of disease, that we are mostly water-based beings, from a physical perspective, and water carries memory. They know this. And when you don't allow yourself to flow emotionally speaking, which is really the emotions are what carry the messages, or hormones are what carry the messages of emotions, which travels via water. And there's more to it than that. But anyway, the idea of um, getting in the way of something that wants to flow, like we put some kind of block of this is not okay. I'm not allowed to cry right now or be angry or whatever the thing is. And then it builds and it builds and it builds. And that's what disease really ends up being, a physical manifestation of this emotional garbage that you've created, this eddy. And then eventually, like what Brian said, it's gonna find a way. Like your body's gonna start screaming at you, like hello, until you pay attention, And some point, people don't really. Well, anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. But yeah, so uh, that's what came up for me when you were talking about all that and how that ties in with like when we hold on to those stories that rock, like I can't let this go. There's no possible way because blah 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 is going to happen. There's and then we just create a big mess.
You and that water infuse reminded me of a part of the book that and the experiences they did with the water and focusing certain imagery or thinking of certain things and infusing water and people being able to get that imagery, which is also part of what went into me wanting to do this Gaia infusion. Because I'm figuring if we're infusing this Gaia, and it kind of came out in my visions during my meditation, is we're infusing in Gaia, we're infusing the water, we're infusing everything that interacts, we're infusing the plants. So people are going to start eating, ingesting that energy, drinking that energy. Or it's breathing out through the flowers. That's kind of what inspired that. So it's interesting that you mentioned it in your thing, and I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. I liked that. And then I had another thought because I'm gonna have to start wrapping it up here. I'll have to start getting things ready. But for the kid is one thing I forgot of when we are initially creating our purple energy is to try and think of just a moment that makes your heart sing, just something that just makes you feel that unconditional love and to let that create the purple energy. So then because then you just have that just unbridled love, and that is what's growing and infusing that energy. And so then it's just untainted. It's beautiful. Yeah.
That is how it started for me. The first thing I felt, um, love and gratitude towards Gaia. It's I just started feeling that.
I love it because that's what I was hoping for. I mean,
It,
because
it
you love Gaia, Gaia is going to then love out and exude that love out, and that's going to affect everybody, right? And that's instead of focusing on humanity and this daunting task and billions of people, you focus on one spirit, one entity that infuses into all those people, and let her do the work for us. That's what she naturally does is anyway. So if we heal her, she just gets to do her job even that much better. I love Tony Ann's comment here. She always calls in her angels first, which always brings in the love. Once again, finding whatever that is to bring in that just beautiful, loving, just untainted source energy. Sweet. Well,
Thank you, Maria, for putting this together, and I'm glad I got out of my way again and started. I was definitely dealing with some physiological stuff, which is much better now. But yeah, I was very much downplaying my contribution to this effort. So I'm glad.
Your energy is very appreciated and needed within this effort. Everybody's in here. I am definitely there was this last month really had me reflecting and going back and reviewing things, and I had to reassess and address some things and adjust some things, but it's only made it stronger, and it's all been a lot of the energy of this group and the people within it. So I'm very appreciative for all you.
Thank you.
Excellent day. Well, on that note, I think we will go ahead and wrap it up. It seems kind of like a natural transition point here. I thank you all again. And just a reminder, next week, for the next week, every day, set aside 8 minutes to do the focus intention that we did today to create that energy, so that moving forward, we know what we know. And when we say, okay, let's tap into our purple energy, we are there and we're ready to move forward and do our healings. So I'm excited to start doing the healings and see some names that we bring next week and see whose lives we can change.
I'll say it instead of writing it. Maybe Brian, can you put it in the messenger chat group, the 8 minute?
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm gonna do a full recap. So I'll post the recap to the field with the video and this kind of a little chat, and then I will share both in the chat group for the Power of Eight, and then the field. I'll put like the links to the YouTube video. I'll share the picture that I the intended or the focus picture that I did of the that Power of Eight kind of energy. Thing, and then yeah, we can go from there. And then if you guys need anything else, let me know.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
everyone. Have a great day.
Awesome.
Blessings.
Thank you.